Cool. All right. Hey, everybody. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody's having a good night. It's a little bit chilly out there in this good state of California, especially in Southern California. It's a little chilly right now, so try to stay warm. But most importantly, as always, try to stay safe. You know, for the ones that are going to work that are essential right now, hopefully you guys are staying safe out there. Hopefully you guys are doing all the precautions to make sure that, this thing kind of goes away as quickly as possible. And then to the people that are quarantined, I hope you guys, are enjoying the time with your loved ones and with your family. Hopefully you guys are doing your part in being safe as well. I know it could be kind of a drag to kind of just stay home and not go to work, but the quicker we all are on the same page, the quicker all this can blow over. And as always, I always like to start off the video by saying that my name is Juan Rodriguez. I go by Junior. This video is coming to you from YouTube Live, and you can always comment on the live chat that I have opened up right now. And if you're following our sports page, you can also comment on that as well. Any questions are always allowed at any time. If I see a question on live chat, I'll answer it as best as I can. And if there's any questions that are being asked on the Facebook live feed, then my helper will wave me down and we'll get to your questions as soon as possible. So, with that being said, let's get this show on the road. Today, we are talking about the eighth pick in the draft, which is currently held right now by the Arizona Cardinals. They have a bit of an interesting story that really the Cardinals really go back. To understand the Cardinals, you really have to go back to not last year's team, but the team previous. And what I mean by that was the head coach at that time was Steve Wilkes. And, he only had one season because whether it was just a bad job he did or whatever circumstances may happen. In his first pick, he got Josh Rosen. They traded with the Raiders at the time to go from 15 to 10, and the Raiders moved back to 15. They took Josh Rosen out of UCLA, and lo and behold, it didn't work out. They finished 2-14, and only 1 year in, Steve Wilkes was fired, and they bring in the young, I guess in a way, hotshot coach and Cliff Kingsbury from Texas Tech, who was kind of an interesting pick because he really wasn't like he got fired at Texas Tech for just not performing up to standards, and then he became the offensive coordinator for USC. But literally about a couple weeks later, he left USC, and the Arizona Cardinals hired him. That was their call. I mean, we don't know what the whole situation was, but he fell into a situation where the Cardinals just finished the year 2-14. They had the number one pick, and everybody was just kind of thinking, well, what are we going to do? What are they going to do with the pick? And about a week later, after he was hired, a video surfaced when he was head coach at Texas Tech saying if he had a chance to coach in the NFL and that NFL team had the number one pick and Kyler Murray was coming out of the draft, he would choose Kyler Murray. Whether that was by, fate or whether that was by, on purpose, lo and behold, he gets hired in the NFL. He goes to the worst team. They have the number one pick. And lo and behold, Kyler Murray is available to be drafted. It was a weird thing because out of all the drafts I've seen, I've never seen a team go back to back first round QBs. So there was a little part of me that said there's just no way this could happen, especially when you drafted a quarterback in the first round. There's just no way you're going to give up on him right away and, bring in another rookie quarterback. And, as the saying goes, when you get hired, you want your own guy. Well, lo and behold, draft day happened in 2019, exactly 5:10 p.m., 5:15 p.m. of April of last year, I think it was the 23rd or the 24th, one of those days, First pick, there he is, Kyler Murray, number one. Um, I think what shocked me more was not the pick, but the actual fact that after 1 year, Josh Rosen's tenure in Arizona was over. Because the following day, he got traded to Miami. He got beat by Ryan Fitzpatrick. Then he, got a start or two. Then he got put back on the bench again, which kind of indicated that, it's not that, Josh Rosen's career is over. He can always turn it around, just by having somebody believing in him. And sometimes that's what it takes is just one person to believe in you. But after what happened, I don't see it. Especially if you guys remember a few nights ago when I did the Miami video, I had them taking Justin Herbert with the 5th overall pick. So if that were to play out, then I think it's the same thing. I think Josh Rosen would just be back up to third string if Fitzpatrick comes back, if somebody else is there. But it's not to say that Josh Rosen's career is over. It's just it hasn't been going well since he came into the league. And so the season played out. Kyler Murray gets the start. He ties his first game against Detroit. Then he just goes on a bad losing streaks, and then about week 10 to week 12, they won, or week 11, I should say, they won 2 in a row. Then back to another losing streak. Then they won their final 3, but in that instance, by week 14, I believe, I think Kyler Murray just sat out the rest of the year. They knew their season was over. They didn't want to injure him anymore. That offensive line wasn't holding up its end of the bargain by protecting Kyler Murray. So they just put in, I think it was Brett Hundley. They just made him play out the rest of the year. And that was kind of it for Kyler Murray. But we wouldn't hear his name again until the NFL awards, where he ended up winning Offensive Rookie of the Year. Now, whether you're a fan of him, whether you're not a fan of him, a lot of people were kind of, it was just bad reviews all the way around, unless you were a Cardinals fan, that you truly believe that he won Offensive Rookie of the Year. Me personally, I was a little shocked that he won. I really thought A.J. Brown had a shot. I thought Josh Jacobs had a shot. And, I didn't think when they announced Kyler, I was kind of surprised because, the team really just didn't look any different than the year prior. But he got them a couple more wins than Josh Rosen his rookie year. And I guess that's all it took was just those 2 wins. And, I mentioned this to one of my family members, that these, as fans, we always want to know who truly is the best. And, when these awards come on, you're going to be biased against your guy. If he's nominated, you're going to be rooting for him. And, if he wins, it's just going to be a big, I told you so. And when they don't win, it's going to be, a bunch of, this is BS. And I mentioned to my uncle just this past off season that really the offensive rookie of the year really is just another quarterback award. And what I mean by that is the NFL MVP. It's been a long time since a person other than a quarterback has won the MVP. Same thing goes for offensive rookie of the year. Alvin Kamara was probably one of the last persons outside of a quarterback to win. But if you go back, to 2000 and I believe it was 16 or 17 when Dak Prescott and Ezekiel Elliott were nominated, and Ezekiel Elliott in his rookie year led the league in rushing, but Dak won, whether because he was the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys, whatever the case may be. It's just a quarterback award. So when I was watching the awards that night, and when I saw a quarterback being nominated for Offensive Rookie of the Year, it was already set. It was quarterback all the way, and it's a shame, really. But what do you? That's what happens. It's just the quarterbacks are the, I guess they're gonna get all the the praise when their team, wins, and then they're going to get all the blame when they lose. So, I mean, I guess it's only fair that awards like this go to the quarterback, which was kind of weird, but so then we keep going to the team in free agency. Larry Fitzgerald's going to come back for his 17th year in the NFL, and it's kind of cool. I like watching Larry play. It's what I wish a bunch of receivers can model their game after. Like a bunch of these kids, they want to be the Tyreek Hill, they want to be the Antonio Browns. They want to be the fastest, they want to have the most touchdowns, they want to get the most money. But really, what a bunch of receivers should model their game after is Larry Fitzgerald, who's just been the ultimate pro since he joined the league. He's just on the field, off the field, he's just the ultimate pro. He's one of those rare receivers where it's not a me attitude, and what I mean by that is a bunch of people can relate and a bunch of people can say what they want. Some receivers do have that diva attitude where it's all about I'm always open. I can beat them one on one. I can get them on the post. I can get them on the corner route. I can get them on the fade. Um, but Larry is more, do whatever it is you got to do to make sure we win this game. If I'm not open, if we got to run for first, I'll block the corner in front of me. You just get there as quick as you can on that pitch, and you just go. Just start hitting the hole hard. I'll be there to block for you. And I think, a lot of receivers should look up to Larry. I've joked with my brother plenty of times, saying that, Larry should be the ambassador for wide receivers on how to be a professional in the league. And it's not to say, making fun of, Tyreek and making fun of, Antonio Brown. I'm not making fun of them. What I'm just saying is, to be a wide receiver professional, like that's very rare nowadays to see a wide receiver care more about the team than me stats, and that's I've seen it plenty of times, with Terrell Owens. It was, me, I want the ball. And, he said it best, I'm the best player on the team. I should get the ball. But however, you have 10 other guys that are, capable of doing their job too. You just have to believe in them. But, some guys just want the spotlight a little bit more, whatever the case may be. I just think that Larry Fitzgerald is just a different cloth, cut from a wide receiver group all on its own. So, he's coming back. Marcus Gilbert's coming back. Majority of the defense is coming back with Chandler Jones, Patrick Peterson. These guys are going to come back. Buda Baker, he's a good safety, really good safety. So the defense should be intact. It probably will be intact now. Now that free agency is over, it looks like the majority of the defense is coming back. Arizona probably, I got to give them props for this. They probably did the biggest trade in recent memory, that they got a superstar wide receiver in DeAndre Hopkins for a 4th-round pick. All they had to do was give up David Johnson, a 2nd-round pick, and a 2021 4th-round pick for DeAndre Hopkins, which pretty much tells me, that's pretty much a steal. Like, that was, you're telling me you got DeAndre for a 4th-round pick in the end of it. I don't know what Bill O'Brien was thinking. There's been articles and interviews already putting out there that DeAndre just, whether it was practice or, Bill O'Brien didn't like the way he practiced. He didn't like, his family being in the locker room, or, waiting for them by the locker room, or, whatever the case may be. There's two sides to every story. DeAndre says he has nothing for love for Bill O'Brien, but then like 24 hours later, he tells Michael Irvin this scoop that he trying to tell him how to live his life. And then you have Bill O'Brien on another interview saying, I never said any of that. it's one of those things where it's like we'll never find out until maybe down the road, if we ever down the road they ever say anything. But uh, I just can't believe that's all it took was a fourth round pick, and I just didn't want to believe it when I saw it. I thought it was a typo, but sure enough, Arizona got DeAndre Hopkins. All they had to do was give up David Johnson, who was like a fantasy superstar a few seasons ago, and now he's just probably just he's gonna go to Houston, try to probably get back some glory minutes. He probably just needed to change the scenery, but Arizona, this was a steal. What else can I say? The it's weird. Like I'm seeing all these superstars, this offseason get traded, and this really just shows that nobody's safe, because DeAndre is probably, if not the best wide receiver in the game today. It's just, for him to only get a fourth, it just baffles me that Arizona only got him for fourth, but Buffalo had to give up a first to get Stephon Diggs. So if that's the case, then that general manager believes that Stephon Diggs was better than DeAndre, which is, I don't understand it, but it's just business, I guess. It's good for Arizona, but for Houston, it's kind of one of those like, well, now you're just creating, I wouldn't want to say more drama. It's just creating a uneasy feeling like, why am I going to give it all for you if the best guy on our team gave it all for you and you gave him away? I don't understand. This season, and we saw Darius Slay get traded for a third and a fifth, who's probably one of the better corners in the league. Last year, Jadeveon got traded for a third, I believe, and that was after him being the number one overall not that long ago. And then, it's just funny that, it's just, I don't know how these teams value players. I think, in some instances, I do blame this on Bill because Houston doesn't have a general manager. It's just Bill O'Brien, and Bill O'Brien answers to only one man and one man only, which is the owner, and that's it. There's nothing in between him and the owner. And I know I'm gonna get a lot of heat for like, yeah, but they won the division and this and that, and it's like, okay, yeah, you've won the division, that's great, but really, what have you done? You you got killed by the Colts a couple seasons ago in the playoffs. You barely passed by Buffalo. There are a couple of questionable calls, and then you blow the lead against Kansas City. You're up 24-0 against Kansas City at Arrowhead, and you blow that. Yeah, you won the division. Yeah, I would love it if my team won the division 4 out of 5 years. But if it doesn't translate to Super Bowl wins, then it's kind of like, kind of pointless. Like, what's like, okay, that's cool, I guess, but I don't know what Bill O'Brien's thinking. Obviously, he's a winner, but I mean, this is really gonna look bad if they go into the next season and they fall flat, and it's like, oh well, we don't have a number one. It's like, well, you did, but you traded him away for a fourth, so you have to really, he really has to lie in this bed if it really backfires on him, because when in this upcoming draft, when Houston picks that fourth, that fourth round pick, that pick is going to be known as the DeAndre Hopkins pick, and that player better be damn good. So we'll see what happens. But back to Arizona. Like I said, Kyler Murray, he won Offensive Player of the Year. Heading into this draft, I thought they were going to draft a receiver for life after Fitzgerald. Well, I mean, they don't have to worry about that now. Now they got Christian Kirk and DeAndre and Larry as your three receivers, so they're set there. Kenyon Drake is going to take over at running back, which is, he's not a bad running back. He's actually very, very talented. So I think they're good there. As I said earlier, the defense is just still intact with everybody there. So, I mean, I don't think no changes will come up. So I guess with that being said, it is now time for my prediction of what I believe Arizona is going to do in the 2020 NFL Draft. Yay. Yeah, no, I love that sound. All right, here we go. And with the eighth pick in the 2020 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Andrew Thomas, offensive tackle, Georgia. I know. I'm sure the people that are watching all these videos are saying another offensive tackle. I mean, it's like I said earlier in the video, guys. That offensive line did no. They didn't hold up to their end for trying to protect Kyler Murray, and that was shown in preseason. That was shown in the regular season. That offensive line is much. It's a lot of work needed, and I believe Andrew Thomas is there at 8. That you go get him. I mean, other than Jedrick Wills, who I had the Giants picking at 4, I mean, Andrew Thomas is just as good as him. He is really a great, great pass blocker. And, to, give you an idea, he's 6'5", 315, arm length 36, which is well above what a left tackle should have. Normally it should be 34, 33 to 34. For him to have an arm length of 36 to handle speed rushers coming out the edge, and for Andrew Thomas, he's going to enter the NFC West. Seattle's got a defense. The Niners have a defense. The Rams, whether, they're going to fall off the slope a little bit, we're yet to be seen. They have a defense still, with Aaron Donald in the game. But, Andrew Thomas is going to have to come in, and he's got the perfect arm length, and, he's got the perfect hand size for 10 and a quarter. He's just a very well off the ball tackle. And what I mean by that is, when you look at his feet, it looks like an old school typewriter. It just goes really fast back and forth. He can go from side to side without missing a beat. And it's just amazing to watch how his footwork is and how well disciplined he is on the passing game. But what's even more impressive is he's really quicker as a ground runner. He's a really good run blocker. At the top of the heap, he's just really good off the ball. His feet are phenomenal, and oops, sorry about that, guys. Just to give you an idea, he ran a 5.240. His split time was a 1.89, which was amazing. It's a good 10-yard split. That's a left tackle, number right there. Bench press, it was 21. I know that's not impressive, but honestly, it's just one of those things where, strength is going to be a thing, and he's still growing. I mean, when you look at him, 6'5", 315, he's a big dude, and the crazy thing about it is he still has to grow into his body because he's still so young. So, I mean, with that, and then I actually have a comment right now from Julian Garcia. Yes, Julian, another offensive tackle. Yes, because that's just the way it's playing out. The way I'm seeing it is, this offensive tackle draft class, the early parts is really good. After that, the fallout is just kind of like, all right, well, who are we going to take after and who's really left out there? I know there's a tackle from TCU that I have to do more work on. There's a bunch of tackles that are out there, but they're more prospects than they are ready to play. Andrew Thomas, Wirfs, and Willis, they're ready to play. Whereas a bunch of these guys, they're kind of like, maybe he can play. Maybe we can sit him a year and then just get him back in there. But these are guys that are ready to play. And like I said earlier, Arizona, their offensive line, they just needed help. They needed help all around. They have DJ Humphries, and like I said, Marcus Gilbert is back, so that's your left and right tackle. But to get an Andrew Thomas at 8, I mean, you got to go for it. You have to go for it. Maybe you kick him inside for a little bit. Maybe you kick one of those tackles inside and maybe have more veteran presence everywhere because, that line for Arizona just did not do well last year. And that's what I believe. But to go back to his combine, he had a 30.5-inch vertical and a 9 broad jump. And that's very important because that's what a broad jump is. It shows you, it indicates how well your acceleration is off the ball. Like, how well can you get your feet going instead of using your natural speed and just, staying in balance? Three cone is all about agility. He had one of the better ones with 7.5. And then 20-yard shuttle, he had a 4.6. And, all these numbers just indicate that he's just pro ready. I mean, he played in the SEC. He did really well against, the three games where I believe he really just showed that he was ready to be an NFL superstar left tackle. The first one was Notre Dame. He handled everything they could. Florida had an amazing defense this year, handled them very well. And everything he did for him to just show the world that he was just ready to be a left tackle, he did it. Arizona needs work on more on the offensive line than they do anywhere else. Yeah, they can go running back, but at number 8, that might be too high of a price. They can go tight end, but number 8 might be too high of a price unless, one of them, unless a tight end really was worth a top 10 pick. It's not in this class. Like last year's tight end class and a couple years ago with OJ Howard, Gerald Everett, all these guys, they were worth, first rounders. This year's, yeah, maybe we'll get a sneaky one in there, but not 8, especially with that offensive line that really just failed Murray to, for the play to develop and for actually to show that he can really play in the NFL. I think what it is, it's we really need to see a balanced offensive line for Murray to see what Murray's really got. I mean, he won the Offensive Player of the Year without an offensive line. But I think it would be kind of cool to see what his full potential would be with a offensive line that gives him time. And, I'm excited. I mean, this is pick 8, Andrew Thomas. And like I said, he's got more options to throw this year. And he's got a good running back to get some pressure off his shoulders. And I think if Andrew Thomas is there at 8, I think Arizona just jumps on him and, bring him along and try to fit him in. I mean, they need all the help on the offensive line as they can. And let's see, another comment by Julian. I mean, yeah, defense is a possibility, but like I said before, I think the secondary set with him, Robert Alford, with Patrick Peterson, Robert Alford, Buda Baker, Chandler Jones, I just think they're really set on the defensive side. They could go defense. We don't know what they're thinking, but as of now, I see them going offensive line because I think that's where their biggest need is. And Andrew Thomas at 8 will probably be a good fit for them, if anything. And on that note, that's the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm going to see if there's any questions on that one. On the other one, nothing, no comments, no nothing. All right. So thanks to Julian Garcia for the live chat. We'll talk soon, and then I want everybody to have a wonderful night. Please take care of yourselves, take care of your families, and just stay safe out there, guys. We want this to end as soon as the next person. So, if you're feeling sick, stay home. If you think it's just a cough, but you don't feel hot, stay home. That's the best way I can put it. The quicker we do all our part, the quicker this whole thing goes over. And on that note, tomorrow we'll be talking about Jacksonville, another team who's been busy on their offseason with just crazy to think about that just a couple of years ago, they were probably about a quarter away to going to the Super Bowl. Now they're at the point of another rebuild, and everybody who was basically on the defensive side of the ball is practically gone. And that just shows you how quick the NFL is. 1 minute you're hot, next minute it just falls flat on your face. But Jacksonville tomorrow, and tomorrow being Friday, hopefully everything goes well, and Friday get the start of a weekend going. We get to have a good beer or two, and hopefully just enjoy this weekend and just forget about the problems. But for now, stay safe out there, and see you guys tomorrow.